Well, these are the mating nukes that I have set up, and this is my yard. Like I said before in that other video, I don't have time to mow grass. It's a waste of time. I would rather have it useful for honeybees. That's all Dutch white clover, and I planted some more seed last week. I got to pull out the grass here. I'm working on trying to get all of it weed free. I had the whole yard planted in clover, but the weeds got out of control and I just couldn't manage it. So okay, these are my mating nukes. Let me go over what. It always has to be windy when I'm doing a video. I had 19 colonies with queens that I made it through winter with. One of them decided to get rid of her, to kill their queen, and they made a new queen. So I split 18 down on 4 separate days. And then when you count, if they end up waiting from 1 day to 4 days for egg and larva to make a queen at 15 or 16, depending on the temperature. Anyway, this day here was red. So these are the days that those queens could come out. That one, and then the next day is yellow, and then those queens, and then Thursday. I've been putting in 12-hour days. Wednesday, with this overlap here of three different groups, I had a 15-hour day, 5:30 to 8:30. Because what I'm doing is, like I said in another video, I don't want to do grafts early in the year. I want to try to keep my queens from as many different breeds or genetic lines as possible. So I do the mating nukes, and I Sunday morning I checked, and I waited 2 or 3 hours, and I checked again, and then a queen came out while I was thinking that there was no queen coming out. So then I started doing hourly, hour-and-a-half checks to get those queens before they kill the queens in the queen cells. Cutting out queen cells doesn't always work very well, especially when they're side by side. So today is Friday, June 7th, and it's the last day for this group here. And then tomorrow will be the last day for this group. But anyway, so there's 50 mating nukes with virgin queens. There's a total of 55 mating nukes altogether. 50 with virgin queens, 5 with queen cells. A week after I did the splits, I went back through and I counted how many queen cells I had. There was a total of 121 queen cells on 66 frames of brood. I split those 18 down to 35. Some of them had 2 frames of brood because it was cold at that time, and I wanted to make sure that there was enough bees in there to feed those queen cells. And then when the queen cells got close, right around this time period here, I split them down even further to a total of, I did take away a few. I had a total of, 65. I thought I was going to hit 70. But I've taken away a few and combined some. So let's take a look here. I've had trouble with Foley's queens. I got 2 queens left. I had trouble with the bees from Foley's queens. They're just difficult to work with. They want to kill queens, virgin queens right away. And they don't tend to a virgin queen in the cage. Wednesday was very warm, and I was so busy doing this, I went back through and checked a few queens that I'd put in queen cages, and they started dying on me, and I realized they were getting dehydrated. So then I had to go back through with a sponge and drop a few drops of water in the queen cage to give them some water to keep themselves hydrated so they wouldn't die. This is the east side of my house. In the morning it gets warm here, but in the afternoon it's fine. But it was getting, with my hives being brown, and I didn't have these shims on at the time. It was getting too warm in there, and I had the bottom board still on. So I took the bottom boards off, stuck that shim in there, and that's helped a lot. I didn't realize it was getting so warm so quick. See over here towards the south, it's bright and sunny all the time. It's the best investment I've ever made. Kubota, made in Georgia, even though it's a Japanese company, it's still made by Americans. I use that every day. Again, here's the Dutch white clover. It's just full of flowers. So anyway, it's more mating nukes here, all the way down through here. And then these hives here, because they get sunshine in the morning and they get it in the afternoon, I've placed some pallets to try to block that sunlight. These over here, they get afternoon shade, and they're side by side, so they're not getting quite so warm. Just this one here at the end. This one here is the colony that killed their queen. End of April. It was a queen that I had mated last year on my own. They decided they didn't want her anymore. I found her on the ground where their wings chewed up, so I know that she probably didn't lay like they wanted her to. And this is how I feed my bees with a chick drinker. It's the best way to feed bees I've found. I've tried other different ways, but that's the best. And what I do, when I verify and the virgin queen is loose, I put a V and the date that she's supposed to be done mated, start laying. If there's a queen cell in there, I put QC. If there's a queen in the cage, I don't put a V on the top. I just put the date that she came out, or she's supposed to be mated, 2 weeks from the day she come out. But there's no V, so I know that she's still in the cage. And I tried putting the cages down on the frame at the bottom, but I found out that wasn't working. It's too difficult to check them, so now I'm putting them right there in the inner cover, and I can check right away and see if those bees are taking care of. Some of these bees, I know they don't have pheromones, but some of the bees will take care of that queen right away, and others won't for the whole 3 days or 2 days, whatever she's in that cage, and that's the ones that die. I wish they'd come up with a decent little queen cage with an itty bitty little sponge for water, because they really need some moisture. Having honey or sugar is not really enough to keep them hydrated during the summer. Over here, I went ahead and some of the colonies I split. 2.5 weeks ago, I went ahead and split them again and put, because I had too many queens for a while there, the first while, and I put some queens in these the day after, and that's what that is, V17. So on the 17th, this one should be mated. You want to do your breeding early in the summer so that your colonies have a chance to get full size. This one here, I don't see a V on there. If I can release her, I just forgot to write on the V, so that's why I don't put a V on there until I release them, so I can go back and check if I don't see a V. Wow, look at that. Considering I split this colony and took out frames of brood just 2.5 weeks ago, this is what you get when you breed your own queens. I only have 2 Foley queens left, and they're almost 2 years old. This one here is a Foley queen. She's the best one that I have of the 2. And down at the end here, number 1 is the other Foley queen. She's not laying very quickly. Wow, look at these bees. This is what you get when you breed your own queens. Oh my, look at this. Here's another one for you. And I always keep a swarm trap just to make sure if you have any colonies that abscond because you get wax moths or whatever in your hive. This here has got lemongrass oil and it's got some dead queens with some rubbing alcohol in it. And then here's a good quality bug zapper, black flag or whatever. It looked real good for 3 months, then it started burning through the plastic. So I had to come up with a way to fix it. And here's my stick for cleaning it every morning. Try to get those wax moths, get as many as I can. Right now it's empty, but look. It fills up every night. Okay, let's go back in. I want to show you. Wow, look at that. It takes them a while to use the bottom entrance. It takes them 5 minutes to get in that hole there because they're all piled around it. And I just added a second deep 2 days ago on these because I got syrup on all of them because you got to consider with all the mating nukes I have, I'm going to need honey for these bees and for those bees out there. So I got syrup on them, cane sugar. And they were filling up that deep real quick, and I didn't want that queen to run out of frames to lay on, so I gave them another deep with open cell frames in the center and some new frames on the sides. Give the bees something to do. Okay, let's go. I want to show you something else here. And I found out that even though with these doors closed at night, I still got wax moths in here. So I had to take all those frames out and get that stuff off the cocoons or webbing or whatever you want to call it off there. And set them out so we get daylight. Here's some queen cells that I cut out that are due today. I cut them out just so I could release a queen. And here, all my videos, 2 years ago I had 2 orders of Foley's Russian bees. The first order came in June 20. 2 of them died out of 20 on the way here from Iowa to Michigan, UPS next day air. So I thought that wasn't so bad. So I went ahead and I did another order in August. 26 queens were in this box. 6 of them never made it out of the cage. The rest of them died within the following week or 2 because I went through and I checked. About 2 weeks after I put the queens, I checked and all I had was queen cells, or it must have been a week and a half. I had queen cells and dead queens, or no queens. So what happens is, Jason Foley, Foley's Russian bees, puts the queens in the cage, and then he packs the box full of loose workers, and there's a sponge in here on the side. And during the summer, temperatures are in the 90s, and the bees, they want to get out, so what happens is they block the screen, and there's only 2 screens on this box. They block the screens, and essentially it says here, air vents do not block, so you violate what the box says. And this comes from Man Lake, and I asked Man Lake, would you guys send me a queen that was interested in Minnesota hygienics? And they said, well, we don't ship queens, but they make this box. It makes a lot of sense. So I wouldn't recommend buying queens from anybody. Queens are delicate. I found out just having them get warm for a few hours, they were dying on me. And this is what I do. I don't use mating or nuke boxes for my mating nukes. I put these fillers in here. And when I have queen cells in there, I leave this one out. That way, when I'm going through and I'm checking the queen cells, I always try to make sure they're in the center frame. And I leave a little bit of space. You don't worry about your bee space when these frames are mostly all filled out anyway. So all I have to do is I just go like this and carefully check my queen cells to see if there's any open ones or any loose virgin queens running around. 9 times out of 10 she'll be on this frame. I have seen them on other frames next to it. So yeah, I don't recommend buying queens from anybody. Breed your own queens and use this Formic Pro Formic Acid. I used that last fall, September through October, and it killed a couple of my queens, but during the winter I didn't lose any colonies. So that stuff really works. Breed your own queens and buy this formic acid. So save your money for the formic acid and don't buy bees from anybody, okay? Thank you.